My deceased husband left me a fortune, but the will states I have to let his sister die to claim the money. The death of my husband, Daniel, 3 months ago, was sudden, brutal, and utterly final. A hiking accident on a remote trail. He was 45, vibrant, and the anchor of my world. His loss left me, Eleanor, adrift in a sea of grief, managing the silence of a house that had once been full of his quiet energy. We had no children, and our finances were comfortable, but unremarkable. Daniel was a history professor. I was a librarian. We weren't wealthy, but we were secure. I thought I knew everything about Daniel, from his complicated relationship with his estranged family to his meticulous budgeting habits. I was wrong about all of it. The reading of the will, 2 weeks after the funeral, was the first seismic shock. Daniel's elderly, aloof family, his mother and his younger sister Amelia, sat across from me in the solicitor's cold office. Daniel's relationship with them had always been tense and distant, particularly with Amelia, who suffered from a rare, severe autoimmune disease that was rapidly attacking her lungs, leaving her in desperate need of a double lung transplant. Daniel rarely spoke about Amelia's condition, claiming the family drama was too painful. The solicitor cleared his throat and began reading. The first part was simple. All jointly held assets were mine. Then, he reached the unexpected clause. Daniel had a separate, significant portfolio, a trust fund established decades ago, completely unknown to me, worth an astonishing $20 million. I stared at the man, convinced I had misheard. $20 million. It was an amount that redefined reality. The silence from Daniel's mother and Amelia was immediate, heavy, and furious. They too were clearly unaware of this massive hidden wealth. But the wealth itself was only the first part of the horror. The solicitor then read the contingency clause, the condition that governed the inheritance. The entirety of the trust shall be transferred to my wife, Eleanor Vance, provided she adheres absolutely to the terms of the Confidential Medical Mandate, CMM, hereby detailed in Addendum B. If my wife violates or attempts to violate the CMM at any point, the entirety of the trust shall immediately revert to the Amelia Vance Medical Research Foundation. The solicitor slid a thick, sealed file labeled Addendum B, CMM across the table. I tore open the seal, my hands shaking with a mixture of disbelief and fear. Addendum B wasn't a standard medical privacy form. It was a devastating confession written in Daniel's own hand. It began with a desperate plea. Eleanor, my love, forgive me. This is the only way to save her life. Daniel explained the true nature of Amelia's illness. Amelia's severe autoimmune disease was rare, but its root cause was genetic. It was a variant of a highly aggressive genetically inherited lung disease that had afflicted his extended family for generations. The disease wasn't just debilitating, it was recurrent and deadly. The crucial secret, the CMM, stated that Amelia must never, under any circumstances, know the genetic origin of her disease. The reason for the secrecy was devastatingly practical. Because the illness was genetic, Amelia would be disqualified from the National Transplant Registry. The registry strictly bars candidates with recurrent, life-limiting genetic diseases because it compromises the long-term success rates of the limited organ supply. Daniel had spent years protecting the secret, funding Amelia's expensive treatments himself, and isolating his family to ensure the truth never reached the doctors processing her transplant application. He had hidden the $20 million to be used as a weapon of control. The contingency clause was now horribly clear. Amelia must maintain Amelia's ignorance regarding the genetic nature of her disease until Amelia has successfully received her double lung transplant and achieved full recovery, minimum 18 months post-op. If Amelia gains knowledge of the CMM's contents, the trust is immediately forfeited. I sat in the cold office, the weight of $20 million pressing down on me, realizing the terrifying choice my dead husband had forced upon me. Amelia was weak. She was nearing the top of the transplant list. She needed those new lungs to live. But if I, or anyone, exposed the genetic truth, Amelia would be disqualified, removed from the registry, and condemned to a slow, certain death. To claim the fortune, I had to be complicit in concealing